Good evening. My name is Jackie Thornton, and it's my honor to be the principal at Naperville Central High School. I have to tell you that I'm a little jealous about where you are in your students' journey. My own son graduated from Naperville Central in 2024, and every time we have an experience like this for incoming parents, I say I would go back and do that in a second, and I'm so jealous. I would love to be where you are right now and get to live that experience with him one more time. So before we start, can you tell us, just by a show of hands, how many of you are first-time freshman parents? First-time Red Hawk parents? Oh my gosh, look around. Ooh, we're all gonna be in this together. How about then the opposite? How many of you have already had Red Hawks at Naperville Central? Welcome back. We're so glad you're back because not only do you know that every year we're bringing something new to our students because we're always trying to do things a little bit better. This year in particular, if you've attended this night in the past, we had the opportunity to meet with some Red Hawk parents over the summer, and one of the things that they suggested you see in the revamp of tonight's program. So thanks for being here with us again. I have to tell you that over the course of the next 4 weeks, 5 weeks, I guess, you are going to hear, and your student is going to hear from me over and over again, that I believe there are two keys to a successful transition to a large high school like Naperville Central, where we have about 2,500 students. We may be a little bit bigger next year, but we certainly won't be at 2,600. And with the adults in the building, there's about 300 adults. So it's a big community. I think the keys to that successful transition are find your people and find your passion. So in a way, we want students to find a smaller community within this large school with whom they share common interests and that they can connect, find a place where they feel like they belong right from the beginning. When you come back with us in January, we're going to talk a lot about where do you get that connection. I have to tell you that we very purposefully bookend this induction experience for your Red Hawks with you involved. So we're starting tonight with you. We're going to end our formal presentations January 14th with you and your 8th grader. Because what I want to tell you is that I think the most important thing we can do to ensure that successful transition is pick the courses that are the best fit for your student. And that's why you're here tonight. That we're going to start to talk to you about and let you know about all of the great things that your student and you will experience at Naperville Central High School. But we want to start with how do I pick the just right courses for my student? So that is some of what we're going to talk about tonight. And so we're glad that you're here. I want to just let you know two things that I think are very important. Number one, we really care about your student and their success. We want this to be a successful transition to Naperville Central, and then once they're here, we want them to love it. We want them to be successful in the classroom, and we want them to thrive outside of the classroom too. The second thing I think is important for you to know, because you might have a little bit of anxiety, we hope that tonight is going to answer a lot of questions for you. You're going to have more questions that come up, and what I want you to know is that we are here to partner with you in every step of this process. So I would very much like it if you would, instead of worrying about something, if you would reach out to the appropriate staff member, whether it's at the 8th grade or whether it's at Naperville Central, to get that question answered when you have it so that you too feel confident about the course selections that your student is going to make over the course of the next 5 or 6 weeks. So thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for walking this Red Hawk journey with your student. And at this point, it is my pleasure to turn it over to our Assistant Principal for Student Services, Marian Eben.
Thank you. You are a very friendly crowd. My name is Marian Eben. I'm the Assistant Principal for Student Services here at Naperville Central. This is my 20th year here at Naperville Central, my 21st year in the district. I started at Naperville Central as a school counselor and have had a couple of other roles, and this is my 4th year as an assistant principal. So I work primarily with student services and with special education, but enjoy a lot of different opportunities in the building, and will be somebody that gets the opportunity to talk with your students. I'm also somebody that joins you in the trenches. I have a 2025 Naperville Central grad who is off in college right now, and then I have a junior here at Naperville Central. You are embarking on something awesome if you are a first-time Red Hawk parent, and if you're a returning Red Hawk parent, you already know that. The 13, 14-year-old in your house right now is still going to be that same person they were from when they were very, very tiny, but you're going to see a really cool evolution, and you're going to see this place and these years help them grow up and change in awesome ways, and the process of them figuring out those next steps and what their career is going to be is just incredible. So I feel lucky every single day that I get to work with your kids, and I appreciate you sharing them with us. So I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Steve Geratina, the Assistant Principal for Curriculum and Instruction.
Hi everybody, Steve Geratina, Assistant Principal for Curriculum Instruction. It's my 4th year in this role and at Naperville Central. Excited to kick this off with you this evening. Everything that we're going to share with you today is going to be available on our website after our session. If you're interested in following along with your phone, we've got a QR code up there so that way you can access all those things firsthand. But again, we're going to make sure that from our slides to the resources to this presentation is currently being recorded, not the backs of your head, just the screen. So that way if you needed to go back and revisit something that we said, it will be available to you. So I'll give you a second if you wanted to get any of the information. The way that we're going to structure this evening is that Marigan and I will give you an overview of some things important to knowing about this process of course selection, what's familiar to you about the high school experience, what might be different. But then we're also going to give you an opportunity to attend a couple of breakout sessions relevant to areas where you might have questions. So we'll talk a little bit more about that at the end. More than anything, we want to build some excitement about this experience that your student is going to go through in the coming months of making some selections and then ultimately getting started with this experience. So we're going to start with the section up there that's talking about what's familiar. What is going to be like that high school experience that you had that you could probably relate to as you see your students engage with this process over the next couple of weeks. So we'll talk about course load, graduation requirements, coursework grades, weighted course options, athletics and activities, and then student service supports as well. So what are our graduation requirements? A student needs 21 credit hours in order to graduate from Naperville Central High School. So you can see up there the different department areas. 1 credit hour would be the equivalent of a full year, half credit equivalent to a semester. Many of our students will go beyond the credit requirements because that would align with many college requirements, which Marigan will talk about in just a moment. Your counselor will do a lot of work with your student to help design that 4-year plan. What is the requirements in the freshman year? That is a conversation that we'll have be discussing quite a bit, but also what is it that your student is interested in? That is that elective option that is at the very bottom. Thinking about what is it that they already do that they currently could be doing in junior high, but also exploring some of those interests that are related to the electives that we have available at Naperville Central. Thinking then about that schedule decision, how is this going to translate into what your student's schedule might look like first semester of next year? We've got an 8-period day, so we're going to make sure that we're finding the appropriate communication art or English course for your student. And the same would go with math, science, social studies, PE. We're going to have a lunch in there, but then there's room for 2 electives. What are those things that your student wants to explore and get involved with? There you see a couple of options that are in our career and technical education department. There's also a variety of options that they would find in fine arts, and the same thing in our world languages department. But in talking with your student, what are their interests? What is it that they want to explore? And certainly 4 years is a lot of time and there's a lot of opportunity for them to try different things, but what is it that they would be best for them in terms of their interest and what they would like to try in this upcoming school year? We've got a number of course options, and the offerings continue to grow. Some of those are weighted, meaning that there is a little bit more of a GPA bump for taking those. Others might not be. But just recognize that all of the courses that your student will take are preparing them to be successful in whatever post-secondary pathway that they would want to take. Starting the conversation with your student about what is that appropriate balance and what is the right set of courses for them to take in terms of their interests, but also what is the best fit for them is something that you're going to want to talk about. Our college prep classes help high school students strengthen their skills and confidence to succeed in future challenges, providing a strong foundation for college level work. Your student could take our college prep classes from their freshman through their senior year and absolutely be prepared for whatever it is that they decide they want to do after high school. If there is something that they have a deep interest in, if there's something that they really want to challenge themselves with, opportunities to take weighted classes, whether that be an honors class where the curriculum is created by District 203, specifically Naperville Central and Naperville North staff, that is something that they will have the opportunity to engage in, as would advanced placement courses, which is created by the College Board and overseen by the College Board. Opportunity to take an AP exam to earn college credit takes place in May. We do quite a partnership with College of DuPage for dual credit classes, which allows high school students to take courses that they will earn high school credit for, but also college credit for, assuming that they earn a C or better. The important part that I want to emphasize about this particular slide is those academic behaviors that you see up there on the left, which what is it going to take for a student to be finding success in these weighted course options? So if students are actively preparing for and participating in classroom learning, they persevere through challenging tasks and assignments, and they advocate for themselves and pursue additional help and support from their teachers. If those three things are things that your student are willing to do, then that might be the appropriate fit for them.
All right, we wanted to talk just a little bit about common college admissions requirements. So you can see those up on the screen. The one thing that I want you to know is it does differ a little bit from institution to institution. And then I will also tell you that within an institution, while that institution will have common entrance requirements, you will see some differences in terms of preferences and what makes a student a more competitive applicant for certain programs. So it may be different for the College of Engineering than it is for the College of Arts and Sciences at certain institutions. So, but in general, this is what they are looking for so that you can kind of plan for that. And we talk with your students about that on a routine basis through our counseling curriculum, so they hear about these different things in a buildable way from year to year to year, as well as when they meet with their counselors individually. One of the things that we have created is a curated resource guide. So that group of parents that gave us their time this summer said it would really be helpful if we could find all the things in one place. And the website is not exactly what we're looking for. So this parent resource guide is my attempt to do that for you. So the QR code is there for you. It's on the website. And a couple things that I just want you to know exist within this. When you are a Naperville Central parent and you do not know who you should be contacting, I've got a nice little who to contact when guide for you that maybe would simplify that, although really start with any of us and we will get you to the right person. Within course selection, the course planning guide is linked. The course selection guide, which is the hyperdoc that has all of the most important things about the course selection process for you, as well as courses by grade level. When you are talking with your student about choosing electives, 8th graders start with what are my friends taking. That is where they start this process. Yeah, okay. We would like you to join us in helping them broaden the way that they're looking at that. And that guide takes you through some of the experiences that they have had in District 203, including Career Motivate. I was there, I saw them, they were totally engaged. And how you could use that to help your student tap into what are those things that you've identified through that in the counseling curriculum as potential career interests. And can we use an elective opportunity to try any of those things out? What we want them to do with electives is to confirm or deny some of those interests so that they can take advantage of all the opportunities that we have here for them and use that chance to figure out what they're really interested in, as well as to try things that they just think might be fun. There's a dual credit guide for you. One of the things that we created is a course information chatbot. So if you are sorting through class options and you want to know if a certain class is open to freshmen, or you want to know if a certain class counts for fine arts or the career and technical ed, you can ask the chatbot. It has all of this information loaded into it, and it would be happy to give you the answer rather than you looking it up, so if that helps you. There's some other information on there about pathways and endorsements that I'll talk about. We linked some things that we think might help you in terms of anytime we do an evening school counseling program, you're going to be able to find those slides. It's linked right there for you, so you'll always be able to go to that. Information about our student activities and dances, and then everything you need to know in 4 years when they're seniors. So all of that is there for you. Hopefully this helps you over the years. Student services. If you are a District 203 parent now, you are very used to student services. There are awesome folks at the junior highs. Those 8th grade counselors are my favorite human beings every year around this time. They are wonderful and working so hard with your students. And that continues here at Naperville Central. What is different, though, is that your student will work with the same team for all 4 years. So we work on the basis of students' last names. That's how we assign them to student services teams and to counselors. And all of our students work with a student services team that includes a dean of students, which would be a bit of a parallel role to what you are used to from assistant principals at the junior high level. They work with attendance, problem solving, behavior, school psychologist, social worker, counselor. We have student advocacy specialists, and then also nurses. So you'll have all those same people. We just organize a little bit differently by last name here. All right, I'm going to turn it back over to you.
So we've talked a lot at this point in time about academics, but we also want to make sure that they take advantage of opportunities to get involved in extracurricular activities, whether it be sports, performance arts, or other activities that we would offer. But in total, there's over 100 sports and activities. Many students are involved in many at the same point in time, but really it's just really finding that group of students that follow that same interest as your student and getting involved. On our January 14th freshman family night, it's going to be an awesome opportunity for you to get around to our different spaces, meet sponsors, meet coaches, current students who are involved in these programs to learn more about them. So that way you can see what is my student looking forward to from an academic standpoint, but also what are the types of extracurricular activities they can get involved in as well.
Okay, we want to talk a little bit now about what are some things that are going to be different from what you experienced, what I experienced when we were in high school. And so some of those things are something we call SOAR, which stands for Success of All Red Hawks, pathways and endorsements, and then also just some trends that we're seeing in terms of post-secondary for students.
So the fun part is that they're going to get to learn 3 different bell schedules. You can't see it, but on my laptop, I've got a little sticker that looks just like that, because if I didn't have it, I wouldn't know which day, which period it is. The kids are far more attuned to it than Merrick and I probably are. But just to kind of walk through it, Mondays and Fridays, 50 minutes. Tuesdays and Thursdays, periods are 45 minutes. Wednesdays, they are 42 minutes. Wednesday is the only day that we start a little bit later at 9 o'clock, because that is collaboration time from 7:45 to 8:45. When teachers are working together within course teams, each day ends at the same time, which is 3:10. What you might note on Tuesdays and Thursdays is that red little bar between period 2 and period 3. We refer to that as SOAR, or Success of All Red Hawks, which is comprised of 2 different components. We have advisory and we have support. And this is consistent on Tuesdays and Thursdays. If my math is right, in first semester of this year, there was 34 total Tuesdays and Thursdays. We had 14 advisories and 20 supports, but it's really our effort to make sure that we are supporting every student and that they absolutely feel included and valued in what we do. So what's the difference between the 2 of them? Students who are in advisory, which is every single one of our students, your students, we're using them as an example, will be grouped with 20, 25 total students in a given advisory, same grade level, same counselor, but they will be paired with 2 to 3 staff members. I've got an advisory where I'm paired with a math teacher. Merrigan has, I believe, 2 partners for your advisory. but they are the ones who are running that experience, and it is a consistent experience across grade levels regardless of which advisory you are in. But some of the things that we do within that is it gives them an opportunity to build some connections with their peers of the same grade level. It allows for some school-wide initiatives to take place. So one of the things that we're really diving deep into this year is a one-on-one monthly meeting with one of their advisory instructors, really just to get to know the students, have that trusted connection, but also see if there's any academic supports that we need to help them, or decisions we should help them make when we get to the SOAR support side of things. It's also where we do safety drills, counseling lessons, and then we do have red crew members for our freshman advisories, and those are junior students who help kind of co-facilitate along with the instructors, giving a student perspective of a lot of things that we'll share with them during that time. Support is a really, really awesome feature that we're proud of and where it has taken us today, but it is, as it might sound, it is an opportunity for a student to engage in academic support. They can actively go seek out a teacher, or that teacher can seek them out if there is a need for additional classroom support, a need to make something up, engage in some form of additional component of learning that might not happen within the classroom. We've gotten more and more teachers who are involved with having guest speakers during that point in time. But it's also an opportunity for them to go to a quiet space, a collaborative space to work with other classmates, go to our student services department to receive some help with college applications or course selection process as well. So we're very fortunate to have those two sides of our SOAR program, and it's something that they will learn about early next year.
I mentioned college and career pathway endorsements. So I am proud that the state of Illinois was one of the first states to come on board with this. This came out of legislation. And what college and career pathway endorsements are, we've always had career pathways for a very long time. And those are the opportunity to organize courses based on a career interest that a student has, and for a student to have a way to explore deeply what that interest is. What an endorsement layers on top of that is the requirements are that a student has at least 2 years of career-focused coursework and at least 6 hours of early college credit, which could be in the form of dual credit, where we partner with a college in the area, or it could be in the form of AP. They have at least 2 team-based challenges, which are included within the curriculum that's taught within those classes that are part of the pathway endorsement. They need to have at least 2 career exploration activities or 1 intensive activity. And then they need to have what we call work-based learning or an internship, at least 60 hours of that. So we have a thriving career internship program. We also have a couple classes where they're able to get those hours within the course. For example, our Business Accelerator class, soon to be our Advanced Marketing class, and then also our teaching class where they can get those hours within that class. What happens when they achieve this in any one of those areas that you see is they have an endorsement that is literally put on their high school diploma. It is also noted on their transcript, and it's something that signifies that they have really taken that opportunity to fully and deeply explore that area, and that they have that work-based learning experience as well. We are just seeing the impact of this for students as they move on from us. And what we know already is our students who are going off to college and have an internship experience under their belt in high school are far more competitive for those college internships, which are extremely difficult to come by. So this is a neat opportunity for kids, and we also know the research shows that when they have these opportunities, they are less likely to change their major as many times, which increases the likelihood of them completing their program in a time frame that you're hoping for. Awesome, right? So something for you just to be aware of as an opportunity. I want to just talk you through the course selection process, and then I'm going to talk to you explicitly about how badly I want your partnership in this and how I tell your students about that so that you can know that they were told to use you as a resource. How this kicks off. You on January 6th are going to get an email with your students' course recommendations. Those are a combination of recommendations from their 8th grade teachers and team, as well as recommendations that may come as a result of the Acceleration Act based on how they have performed on some standardized testing measures that they've taken within the district. Starting the next day, they are able to enter classes in their 4-year plan in Schoolings. Please know that those 8th grade counselors that I think so much of are doing very explicit lessons with them, and you will be getting communication from those 8th grade counselors so you know what happened, and you've got like a dinner time conversation option that was presented to you courtesy of the email you got from whichever one of those junior highs. The next thing that happens is January 8th, 9th, and 12th, depending on what school your student currently attends, they come here, and they are going to be seated where you are seated right now. They are going to have an experience learning about Naperville Central from us. We bring in a panel of current upperclassmen students who attended that particular junior high. And then they also spend part of the time touring our building and getting to see the space. They will hear explicitly from me that I want them to use you as a resource and a sounding board in this decision-making process. So if you are having the experience that sometimes happens as our kids get older and they are working on developing that independence, where they are doubtful of your expertise and your value as a resource, any of you ever have that experience, and they say, well, they said. First of all, please know that I have had that experience. I got told what they said, and I'm the they who wrote the letter she was talking about. We refer to that child as the chief negotiator in my house, privately. Please know that we need your help, they need your help. As that independence grows, if I was gonna give you a tip on how to approach those conversations, anytime you can do it from a framework of curiosity. So as they're talking about what they're interested in, as they're talking about the decisions they're trying to make, if you can approach it from a standpoint of, that's interesting, tell me more about that. How are you thinking about that? You know, I'm wondering, you've always been so excited about this. This sounds like a shift for me. What experiences shifted that for you? What are you thinking about with regards to that? The more you can be curious and get them talking and them processing is how they get clearer in their thinking, and you being a part of that is so important. Also, the fact that you know them just as well as they know themselves, and maybe better in some ways, it gives you an opportunity to bring out some things that they may not be thinking about and may be just a little bit blind to in this process as they are taking it in for the first time and don't yet have the experience of high school and beyond that you and I have the benefit of. So thank you for your work on that. We appreciate it. The next thing is January 14th, and Jackie talked a little bit about that. If there is any way that this can fit into your family calendar, we would really appreciate you coming back with your 8th grader. We are going to start in the main gym. We have things set up in the main gym, the field house, the cafeteria, the auxiliary gym, and what that night looks like is we have teachers and department chairs from every single department in the school who are there with information, with manipulatives, with things to help you and your student understand those classes. That is a golden opportunity. My experience was each of my kids were very able to confidently make decisions in about 3 core academic areas, and then there was the one that they were like back and forth and back, and we just, wow, big debate. That night and the opportunity to talk with Naperville Central teachers and department chairs really helped them be confident in that decision moving forward. So please use that as an opportunity. We also have clubs and activities and sports there. So they will have the opportunity to put their name on a sign-up sheet for cross country or football or whatever it is, and they will then start to get information about that sport. So they are not missing out on summer camp opportunities or anything else. And that's part of how we want them to start finding those people and starting that connection to Naperville Central. So that is a night that kids leave very excited. You start to see that balance of excitement versus nervous tip further towards the excitement. So please, and hopefully for you too, we would love to see you. January 23rd is the deadline for District 203 8th graders to have their courses entered in Schoolings. You absolutely help them with that at home. Tell them you'd like them to open their Chromebook and show you their course plan in Schoolings. You can also follow them in School Links, but their 8th grade counselors will be working on this extensively as well, so you have a big partner in that. January 27th through 29th, our counselors go over to the junior highs, and they are meeting one-on-one with each and every single 8th grader at the junior highs just to confirm those things in School Links. February 1st, for my families in here who currently have children who are attending a private school, that's when we would like you to submit your course selections to us. You will get the paperwork you need when your student is here January 8th. And if you're not able to be a part of that, no problem, we can get that paperwork to you in another way. Couple of additional things for you to know. In those January 27th through 29th meetings with the Naperville Central School counselors, their course selections are then locked in School Links. That's the end of the changing of the mind process. We really need these to be well thought out decisions, because those course requests that students make with your help, with counselors' help, that drives our staffing. So unfortunately, when they want to change their mind and go from culinary to drawing, we planned for a culinary teacher, not a drawing teacher. So we may not be able to accommodate that. So we really want to put the thought on this end of the process for students. In May, you will get an email that just verifies your students' course selections, just to kind of confirm what was in School Links for them, and then what the instructions are if there is a really compelling, important reason to make a change. One thing that we want you to know, once the semester starts, students have 20 school days to drop a class for a study hall. Once the semester starts, they cannot change from culinary to drawing, but they do have the opportunity to drop a class for a study hall without that being reflected on their transcript. So knowing that you have that safety net, we really do encourage students, if they're on the border between elective versus study hall, we would like you to take the opportunity to try that elective, knowing that if your student is in that experience, and 20 days is 4 weeks, by that time you really kind of know how it's going, and if it is too much, absolutely drop for that study hall. But we would love for them to have the opportunity to take that elective if they can, and knowing that they have source support and some things like that here, many times that really is a good fit. So I want you to think about that. When you get those course recommendations, if there's something that you're questioning or it just doesn't make sense to you, or you feel really, really strongly about doing something different than what you're seeing, we really would like you, and more so your student, to have a conversation with those junior high teachers just to understand the perspective that went into that recommendation. Those 8th grade teachers are so passionate about helping kids be successful, because we know a successful, confident freshman year launches the rest of a successful, confident high school experience. So we do not want kids super stressed, super overwhelmed. We want them challenged appropriately. We want them happy. We want them healthy. We want them connecting, because that is in their best interest and all of our best interest to launch them the best. So please have some dialogue with those junior high teachers. They know your students in ways that you don't, and putting all those perspectives together really helps. You're also always welcome to reach out to our department chairs or to us just to learn more about those specific classes too.
All right, so there's one more resource I want to make sure that you're aware of, and it's the one that's on the QR code right there. It's a document that we put together in conjunction with our department chairs for communication arts, math, science, and social studies. And as you're looking at course options for our core areas, determining what is the distinction between world history and AP world history, English 1 and honors English 1, chemistry and honors chemistry, algebra 1 and geometry, or algebra 1 with geometry, things of that nature. Just making sure that you understand what are the types of things that make students successful in these particular classes. What are the homework requirements looking like for each of these? Just so that you understand how those courses are unique in their own right for those 4 areas. Beyond that, again, we're hoping that we're giving you some information that's building an excitement for this experience that your student is going to have as they start planning for that as early as January. What we're also inviting you to do is to text the number 81010 with the message at NC30parent to receive messages through our Remind app, which will give you updates about all the things that are happening at Naperville Central.
I will tell you, we do not overuse that, but it will be with you for the next 4 years, and it will save you at least a couple times. I would join the Remind.
So the next part of our evening is something new, and it was requested by parents that gave us feedback on the session from previous nights, is you might have questions pertaining to specific course areas or just more about building this schedule with your students for next year. So we're going to offer you a couple of opportunities to attend some breakout sessions. Within the auditorium, we're going to have our session on building a balanced freshman year schedule. So if that's something you'd like to learn a little bit more about, great, stick around. But it's also going to happen 2 additional times after the first session that we have here starting in a little bit. In our black box theater, which is on the other side of this wall over here, our communication arts and social studies department chairs are going to discuss course options and give you an opportunity for Q&A. In room 48, which if you're not familiar with the building, don't worry, we've got a couple of our Naperville Central ambassadors here, which will help you get to these appropriate locations. But in room 48, our fine arts, world language, and CTE department chairs are going to be available, tell you about their courses, but also answer any questions you might have. And then down the hallway past the auditorium is going to be our math and science department chairs talking about their course options and answering your questions. So each of those sessions will be 20 minutes in length. After each session, you can go to another one. You might want to stick around and hear it again if you really want to dive deeply into something. But you'll have the ability to go to 3 of those sessions over the next 70 minutes or so, 75 minutes or so. So here's what we are going to do. Just as again, a little bit of a guide to help you think about where you might want to be, take a look at those options. What are those questions that you might want to ask the people who are closest to that work? And what's most important for you to hear it right now? Again, right in this room is going to be our session on building a balanced course for your students' freshman year. If that's where you want to begin, stay put. Right down the hallway, out this door, and I'll walk out there so that you can see, is going to be where our math and science department chairs are going to be. Also out this door, but to the right, is going to be our communication arts and social studies course options. And then just past where our communication arts and social studies department chairs are going to be, is where our fine arts, our world language, and our CTE options and Q&A will take place. So think about that. We'll give you a couple minutes. We'll have a little transition, let you know when it's time to move. If you feel like you've gotten the information that you've needed for the evening and you have no further questions, don't feel obligated to attend those. If you feel like there's one that you'd like to attend, but that's about it, that's great. Thank you for coming. We appreciate your time and attention, and we'll see you soon. Thank you.